What's up, boys and girls on YouTube? So today we are doing a super fine review of one of the best Christian video games ever released. A little sarcasm there. This game is called Axys Adventures Truth Seeker. This is a Windows game developed by Rebel Planet Creations and released in 2007. And this game got some really big attention. For example, it won the Christian Video Game of the Year. This is an action platformer that follows the adventures of a boy named Axys as he tries to find out why his land has been overrun by infectious weeds. And he tries to find the source of the problem and save the place that he lives at. And yes, I'm just randomly holding a shoe.
On a quest to kill the weeds.
So anyway, this game has probably around 11 to 15 hours of gameplay, and the Christian theme inside of it is mainly allegorical. In other words, it doesn't really come out and give you a whole lot of direct Christian messages. Let's go ahead and talk about the story of Axys Adventures really quickly. So Axys is minding his own business until one day he wakes up and then he sees that his village has been overrun by these weeds and he's not sure from where.
I'm Axys.
So his dad sends him on a mission to find out the source of all these weeds and to kill all of them along the way with his powerful sword. I just love pulling out this skinny sword. It just makes me feel so powerful. And his dad wants him to be home by night. Yeah. Good luck, Axys. So anyway, Axys goes on an adventure through the mountainous island, or whatever you want to call it, he lives on. At the end of this part of the game, he attacks this huge boss weed that's like really weird, yo. And once he kills the weed, he saves a boy that was lied to and actually planted all the weeds in the area. So is the game over? Nope. So after these several hours of gameplay, you go back home and everything's great and dandy until you find out that the nearby Pinyu Harbor, or however you say it, I'm probably just killing the name, has had all of its water infected so that nobody can drink it anymore. So now you go to the harbor and you have another problem to fix. So you go up the mountains to the source of the water in the mountains to find out what has been infecting it. A lot of people warn you about how dangerous it is, especially, oh my goodness, these dangerous worms right here. Oh, they're so powerful. They're just worms. So anyway, you go to the source of the water and you find out that the problem is this huge giant squid named Joe. Like my name's Joe. I'm a squid? I don't know what to think about this. Why would you name, first of all, why would you name a squid, and then why would you name it Joe? You should name it like a name that you don't like or something, like Maximilian or something like that, but it doesn't matter. Look, okay, I'll just be Squid Joe, okay? So you beat the squid and you save another person. This time it's a girl, again, from lies. So anyway, after all this hard work and gameplay you've done, is the game over yet? Nope. So now you find out that a village nearby has been infected by what's called a gray plague that has been brought on by the king named Regis, or I don't know what his name is, yo. His name is something. You go to the village and you see that basically the whole village is like in black and white and people can't see color. They're basically all blind to true reality and they don't even realize it and they don't want to go back. So what you gotta do is enter Regis Castle, take a guess, you solve 500 puzzles and you get to the castle and guess what? Yay! More puzzles! So exciting! More puzzles! So anyway, you get to the castle and you finally have an ultimate boss fight with Regis. You want someone to steal, but I will vanquish you, Regis. You will stand no chance against my iron blade. So anyway, that's the story of Axys Adventures. Now we're going to talk about the gameplay. So this game focuses mainly on 3 things. So you got combat, puzzle solving, and then platforming. Overall, the gameplay feels kind of underdeveloped. It doesn't really have a lot of the elements that are required to keep a game fun and to keep your attention. Motion is also pretty stiff in this game. Like, you can't really go that fast. This really bothered me. Like, when you do a jump and then you land, you're frozen for a second, especially when you're in the middle of battle. That's not a lot of fun. Like, combat is a little bit of a nightmare. It's really underdeveloped. It's hard to move, and attack at the same time. One thing I think is hilarious, how sometimes when bad guys shoot bullets at him and hit him, he says something like, "Alright bad guy, don't hurt me anymore." There are these mazes where these spikes come out of the ground, and if he gets hit by a spike, I had a couple times where he was saying that to his spike.
Wow, bad guy. Please don't hit me anymore.
I mean, yo, bro, you be talking to spikes. What are you doing? Those things ain't gonna listen to you. And your enemies ain't gonna listen to you either. So the whole game, you only ever get 2 weapons, which is a sword and then some type of like bullet thing that you shoot at enemies. These 2 weapons never get upgraded, except for the bullet thing gets upgraded like 1 time to give you more ammo. Kind of leaves combat as a minimal part of the game. All enemies have hand combat where they can hit you to attack you, or they can shoot bullets at you that will actually track you down and try to follow you. Now, one thing I think is funny, like when Axys is swinging his sword, he just lets out random grunts and stuff. He's like, ooh, like when he's swinging the sword, you know? So if you just stand there and swing the sword 2 times in a row, the first time he says tat, and the second time he says two. It sounds like he's saying tattoo. Tattoo, 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 because that's all I can think about for some reason while I'm chopping weeds. So as far as the platforming, that was a more difficult part of the game for a guy like me. I'm still a noob when it comes to gaming. Sometimes you have to crawl along walls, and there will be pieces coming out of the walls trying to knock you down. There are also parts of the map where you have to push crates to jump on top of so that you can reach obstacles and stuff like that. There are spike mazes where spikes come out of the ground and you have to walk through the maze without hitting a spike. And trust me, after the platforming, there is a lot of puzzle solving in this game. I'm not a big puzzle guy, so it didn't really appeal to me a lot. Maybe you like it. For example, there are puzzles where there are these slots on the ground where you grab crates with letters and then put them in the right order to form names of Bible books. To me, that just seemed kind of like a forced attempt to try to make this a Christian video game, even though the Bible books really didn't have much of anything to do with the game itself. There are also these puzzles where there are all these tiles and you shoot them and you basically flip the tile and then try to find a matching tile. There are also puzzles where you shoot tiles and then you slide them into certain patterns to form pictures. Throughout every map, there are also these beautiful, wonderful blue gems that you collect, which really don't serve much purpose other than one thing that I found throughout the game. They allow you to unlock the ship to go to Pinyu Harbor. I didn't find any other purpose for them other than that. So now, guys, we're gonna talk about the graphics. So this is a relatively old game. It was released in 2007, but I think it had been like developed before then. If it was developed around 2007, it's definitely kind of far behind in graphics. Now, one thing I did like about this game is the character design. Now, I like Axys design. His armor suit is really cool. I like even the enemy designs. I think they're creative. There's good variety. A lot of this game is just very colorful, like the flowers. You walk around, there are butterflies just floating through the air. The main thing that I didn't like is some of the terrain and the texturing, especially like some of the cliffs and stuff like that. The edges were really sharp. Some of like the ground textures, especially inside of buildings and such, look kind of bad. Like they weren't very well developed. As far as the animation, it's all pretty smooth. Plus, you gotta love Axys, man. He's like the ultimate parkourist. He can do side flips, front flips, back flips. Like every time you jump, yo, he's doing the flip. It's, you know, he's pretty cool. Level designs are mostly pretty decent. They're not super amazing, but one thing I loved about this game, it is pretty immersive. There's a lot to explore. There's a lot of different maps. So anyway, guys, that's like an overall view of what Axys Adventures looks like. Now, there's one thing I do want to talk about. The glitches in this game are so good, they deserve a whole section in this video. So there is a glitch. I love this one. If you pick up a crate and then you set it perfectly against the wall, if you do it just right, the crate will start randomly levitating into the air. There was this one part of the game where there was this area I was trying to reach. I didn't know how to get up there, so you know, you just gotta be creative, bro. So I used that glitch, and then I set a crate against the wall, and it started levitating, and I jumped on top of the crate, and it just carried me up to that part of the map that I needed to be to. It was great. I felt like a genius. And then there's another part of the game where if you go to a certain spot, and then jump on top of an object and then jump up. The ceiling's so low, you can literally jump through this ceiling and walk in the sky, and you can literally walk wherever you want to. So anyway, guys, now I'm going to talk about a couple negative elements that I didn't exactly like in this game. I always like to do this to give you guys the whole scoop so you can know whether this is a game that you should check out or not. So anyway, the first thing I didn't exactly like about the game, Axys almost seemed like a prideful guy. So he's talking to some people in Pinyu Harbor and they're like, yo, there's worms out there. They're so dangerous. They're scary. And he was kind of almost bragging about himself. Maybe that's just me, but I feel like he was a little bit too prideful. There's also one part early in the game when he's talking to his brother where he uses the word dang. And if you know anything about that, that's literally just a euphemism for the D word. You can search it for yourself. I didn't make that up. And so that makes me really uncomfortable because a lot of people are comfortable with words like that, but they're really just variations of actual curse words. And I believe that God does see them as that. Of course, this game does have mild violence. It's rated everybody 10 and up, but it's really not graphic in the least. So anyway, guys, what are my overall thoughts of this game? You went through all me blabbing for so long just to hear what I thought about this game. I feel like this game has a lot of elements that go great inside of a video game. It's got a good immersive game. It's got an interesting storyline, but I feel like it's just not well developed enough. The graphics aren't really well developed enough. The gameplay is missing a lot of elements. It's too puzzle focused. I think it needs to be more platforming, more exploration, more combat focused. I feel like it needs more variety in the enemies because they were mainly like maybe 6 or 7 main enemies throughout the game and only about 3 bosses that you actually fight. So of course this was like a debut game for the guys who made it. So I'm not expecting them to get it perfect. I think they did a great job for the first game. Obviously they won a Christian Game of the Year. Now as far as the overall message of this game, because you watch this whole video and be missing out on what the message actually is in this game. It's really all allegorical to, I believe, the message that weeds represent sin in our life and how sin enters our life sometimes, and it's our job to attack the sin, find the source of what's causing the sin, and destroy that, as well as saving other people from lies and deception. Ultimately, this game is a quest for truth. But anyway, guys, that is my review. Goodbye, notes. Whoa, that actually went flying across the room, bro. So I gotta get my shoe again for like no reason at all. Thanks for checking out this review. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Now, this is an interesting question. Now, what would you guys think like if someone actually remade a game similar to this with a kind of similar storyline, better graphics, better gameplay? Would that be something that you would be interested in seeing a Christian game developer do? I'm curious to see what you guys think. Thanks for watching this video, letting me waste some of your time. I hope you guys stay cool and behave yourself and have lots of fun and do all sorts of cool stuff. Bye!